lift up his name. Jesus, the light of heaven, worthy of praise. Jesus, the King is risen. He reigns in grace and power, worthy of praise forevermore. Nothing less than my all. I surrender my all. Come on, lift your voice. Lift up his name. Jesus, the light of heaven, worthy of praise. Jesus, the King is risen. He reigns in grace and power, worthy of praise forevermore. Nothing less than my all. Come on, lift up his name. Lift up his name. Jesus, the light of heaven, worthy of praise. Jesus, the King is risen. He reigns in grace and power, worthy of praise forevermore. Nothing less than my all. I surrender my all. Lift his name. Lift up his name. Jesus, the light of heaven, worthy of praise.
Good morning, everyone. We're getting ready to start, so we'll come on in, everybody. Good morning. Our music director, Steve Schenkel, is not here with us today. That's why I'm up here at the moment. Steve is actually rehearsing at the Muni, I understand, until 11 p.m., so I suspect he might rather be here. I don't know for sure. But at any rate, I just wanted to welcome Mary Keller, who's been with us before, for serving as our pianist. Yes, yay, Mary! For serving as our pianist and vocalist, and we're just happy to have you back at First Unity. Welcome, Mary.
When the music fades, all is stripped away, and I simply come, longing just to bring something that's of worth, that will bless your heart. I'll bring you more than a song, for a song in itself is not what you have required. You search much deeper within, though the way things appear, you're looking into my heart. I'm coming back to the heart of worship, and it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm sorry, Lord, for the thing I've made it, when it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. King of endless worth, no one could express how much you deserve. Though I'm weak and poor, all I have is yours, every single breath. I'll bring you more than a song, for a song in itself is not what you have required. You search much deeper within, though the way things appear, you're looking into my heart. I'm coming back to the heart of worship, and it's all Jesus. I'm coming back to the heart of worship, and it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm sorry, Lord, for the thing I've made it. When it's all about you, it's all about you, Jesus.
Thank you, Mary. That was beautiful. Heart of worship. Very, very nice. So it's really good to see everybody, those of you in the sanctuary today and those of you out in the world. We welcome you all. No matter where you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. And I especially want our first-time guests to understand that. We know that each and every one of you is bringing something unique and wonderful to our spiritual community. And it is our fervent prayer that you take from this service exactly what it is that your soul needs. If we haven't met, I'm Reverend Jan Mourning, and it is my honor to be senior minister here at First Unity. So we absolutely want you to know, if you're a first-time guest, that there is a little guest information card in the pew in front of you. It is yellow, and if you'd like to fill it out, we do not harass people in any way. We're not about harassment here, but we would love to send you a year's subscription to our Daily Word magazine, which you will hear from in a few moments. And as you exit the front door, there also are visitors packets on the table. So please take one of those and it'll tell you more what we're all about. And we will, if you mark the appropriate square on the back of that card, we will send you a year's subscription to that Daily Word magazine, which is a great little daily magazine. Also, if you need prayer, just hit the Contact Us section if you're watching online, and if you're in the sanctuary, our prayer chaplain, Mary Tuminello, will be on duty after service to pray directly with you. So, great gratitude to all of you who donated to our Abundant and Free in 2023 initiative to build up our reserves. I'm happy to announce that our contributions are currently $8,454. So thank you for that. We appreciate that greatly. And every time you donate, you can place a puzzle piece on the board and see the black and white building just come into living color. And also you can fill out a little card for our drawing, which will take place at our church picnic on July 9th. Our board president, Mary Tuminello, Lynn Mark, right, will be in the lobby after service with the puzzle to help you choose a piece if you want a special one and get your piece on correctly. So, a sign report. Did you notice the concrete has been poured? Yes, thank you, God. So, we really hope, and it looks like that they will be installing the sign on Tuesday. So, we're very much looking forward to that. I can't promise it will be operational next week, but I'm praying it'll be out there, okay, one step at a time. And we're so excited, another big project that we have going on, about the creation of our First Unity Church's Favorite Recipes cookbook. Our thanks to Georgia Baugh and her committee. I was able to sit in with them lately, and they're just an amazing group who've done great work. The cookbook will be professionally published, and it will be for sale in our bookstore. So details about submitting recipes are out in the lobby, and I believe Ruth Emnett, right, will be out there to help you with that. There's a little display out there. And also, the committee would like for me to ask you to please give specific package, jar, or can sizes on all ingredients. What we're finding is that some of the, like tomato sauce, for example, that used to be 14 ounces is now 12 ounces for the same price. Have you noticed that when you go to the grocery store? And so if you kind of check the store out and see if if it's appropriate, and if not, just simply give the number of ounces or number of pounds, or, in terms of what the recipe includes. So I have a few announcements that are already on the screen, a lot of them. Because you see how long they are, I'm only going to do this week's, but our hospitality ministry will meet today at noon in the adult classroom. This is our ministry that helps with fun and fundraising activities, a very hard-working group with all we have going on, and they are always open to new input and new people. So we will be in the adult classroom, which is through the bookstore, at noon today. And our book club is Tuesday this week at Miss Sherry's. I don't think, is Carol Bullock here? I don't think she is. But you can call the church for more information, or it's on our website. Yes? I'm sorry. Or they can talk to Mary Tuminello. Mary's right here. Okay, this Friday evening, our Route 66 Jazz Orchestra will meet, will be doing a concert in Kirkwood Park at 7 p.m. in the amphitheater. In case of rain, that concert will be here. And they usually they'll make that decision soon, I think. Right? Is that right, Jeremiah? Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, thank you for that correction. It will be here, but it'll be the following Wednesday. Okay, so, and will that be on the Route 66 website, Jeremiah? Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Isn't he a handy person? Let's give Jeremiah a hand. Great, great, great. Okay. There is a sign-up sheet in the lobby to bring cakes and other desserts for our July 9th Freedom Picnic. Next week, the men's and women's group are meeting, and their information is on the screen. And if you want information about that today, see Mary Tuminello or Roy Ems, okay? So I'd like to invite you to stand, if you're ready and able, for our first community song, which is God is My Source, led by Chuck Seeger, and thank you, Chuck.
God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. Love is my source, love is my power, love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. Joy is my source. Joy is my power. Joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need. Peace is my source. Peace is my power. Peace gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Peace gives me everything I need.
Morning. My name is Mary Tuminello, and I have the privilege of being your prayer chaplain today. After the service, I will be over by the windows for you to come pray with me about any needs or any gratitudes that you have. And as always, all prayers will be kept confidential. Our word today is grace. With joy and gratitude, I welcome grace. Would you repeat this with me? With joy and gratitude, I welcome grace. The guiding, healing, harmonizing presence and power of God is everywhere present. Divine grace is mine whenever I say yes to the presence within me. I release any thoughts that I am unworthy of grace. Nothing I could do or fail to do would ever disturb my divine identity. Grace need not be earned, nor can it be bought. It is inexhaustible. No matter how much comes my way, I can relax in complete trust that even more will be available as I need it. Grace doesn't happen to me. It expresses through me. Just as I have been blessed to receive grace when I have needed it, I am honored to be the conduit through which it flows to someone else, blessing them in their time of need. And from 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 15, yes, Everything is for your sake, so that grace, as it extends to more and more people, may increase thanksgiving to the glory of God. Let us pray. As we sit here today, let us take a deep breath. And as we let it out, let go of all the worldly things or things we think we have problems about and go within, where we have that strength and that power of grace. Grace is always with us. It's inexhaustible. We don't need to beg or borrow or pray for it. It's just there. And remember, it's always there to give as a conduit out to the world that grace, that feeling, that inner strength to give to those who are in need. We are so blessed with this knowledge because with it, we know all things are possible. And so it is. Amen.
Take my life and let it be consecrated, Lord, to Thee. Take my moments and my days, let them flow in ceaseless praise. Take my hands and let them move at the impulse of Thy love. Take my feet and let them be swift and beautiful for Thee. Take my voice and let me sing, always only let it ring. Take my lips and let them be filled with messages from Thee. Take my silver and my gold, not a mite would I withhold. Take my intellect and use every power as You choose. Here I am, all of me. Take my life, it's all for Thee. Take my will and make it Thine, it shall be no longer mine. Take my heart, it is Thine own, it shall be Thy royal throne. Take my love, my Lord, I pour at Your feet its treasure store. Take myself and I will be ever only all for Thee. Here I am, all of me. Take my life, it's all for Thee. Here I am, it's all of me. Take my life, it's all for Thee.
Thank you, Mary. That was beautiful and perfect for today's message. Today's message is entitled Expressing Truth. So today we come to the end of our series on Unity's 5 principles, and we're going to begin by reviewing and affirming the first 4. Will you say them with me when they come on the screen? First of all, together, God is absolute good, everywhere present. The Spirit of God, the Christ, lives within. Therefore, human beings are innately good. Our thoughts have creative power to determine our reality. Prayer heightens our connection with God mind and therefore brings forth everything good. And so finally we come to the 5th and final principle. And it is, together, knowing spiritual truth is not enough. We must live the truth in our thoughts, words, and actions. Now, Reverend Ellen Davenport, the author of the 5 principles, begins the discussion for number 5 by saying, "At last we put principles into action. These teachings would be useless if not practiced in the real world." Unity is above all about practical spirituality, finding something in Sunday morning that you can take out that enriches your week. So I have a riddle, and some of you know the answer to this, so don't shout it out if you know it, okay? There were 5 frogs on a log and in a lake, and Frida the frog decided to jump into the water. So the question is, how many frogs are left? Shout it out. How many frogs? 4. Some people know the answer. The answer is 5 because Frida decided to jump. Deciding and doing are 2 different things, okay? We're going to come back to Frida later on in the message. But Jesus told us, now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them. Yet Reverend Ellen says the first 4 principles are about shifting consciousness, shifting a mindset before changing behavior. Principle number 5 says, live the truth, which may or may not mean charging out to save the world. Earlier in John, Jesus says, and it's on our wall to the right when you walk in the front door, say it with me, you shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free. In an article entitled Choosing the Truth, and this is in that little pamphlet that's out on the table. If anybody would like to take one, please do. There are lots of pamphlets on the table, complimentary. In the pamphlet called The 5 Principles, this article is in there, called Choosing the Truth by Reverend David Adams. He says, what I find compelling about principle number 5 is that we are always living into something we perceive as truth. We either express from a place of love, embodying our innate oneness with all living beings, or we express from a mindset of fear, lack, loss, and separation, allowing outer conditions to hold sway over our lives. Now, we've looked at this before. There actually are 2 kinds of truths. There are relative truths that are based on our perceptions in the physical realm, and they may be true at the time but not permanent. For example, right now I could say it's cloudy out and it's been rainy. Is that true? It's true right now. Is it going to be true in 24 hours? Probably not in St. Louis, right? We don't know, right? So the point is, in relative truths, 2 people can observe exactly the same thing and see it differently. I'm a former teacher, and I've settled a lot of playground disputes, and I can tell you that's true. It's like the 2 people didn't even have the same experience. And on the other hand, when we think about absolute truth is divine truth. It is unlimited, it is enduring, what is, what has been, and whatever will be. And the first 4 unity principles are absolute truths. They affirm absolute truths. The first one we already looked at, God is good, everywhere present. In his book, Practical Metaphysics, Reverend Eric Butterworth tells a story about the British Navy when they were expanded all over the continent and to the point where they couldn't really defend their navies. And so they were having a meeting about this one day, and a very young person raised his hand, and he said to the quartermaster, whoever he was, he said, "Well, I think I know what our problem is, sir." And the guy said, "Well, what is it, young man?" And he said, "We need larger maps." So Eric Butterworth says, if we are going to understand ourselves in modern times, if we are going to use that information to enrich our and others' lives, we must expand our consciousness. We need larger maps. We need larger maps about the concept of God, and we need to gain new insight about who we are. Releasing thoughts of God, maybe the God of your childhood, it was the God of mine, as a being who was far away, limited, and punitive, we come to the understanding that God is unconditional love and goodness, fully expressing at every single point in the universe, which means God is fully expressing right here, right now, through each one of us. And made in divine image, love and goodness are our divine inheritance. No exceptions. Absolutely no exceptions. We are the divine in expression, creating our experiences with every thought and feeling. And the fourth principle is about prayer. Prayer helps us realize our connection with God mind, and therefore results in everything good. And Reverend Ellen reminds us our goal is to live consciously in this awareness. It's really our life's goal. Now, interestingly, expressing truth is more about being than doing. You've probably heard the expression, we are human beings, not human doings. Some of us get that confused. I do some days. It's about how we show up for whatever we choose to do. It's about who we are, who we choose to be. And when we live the truth, any action we take is from a consciousness of godness and oneness. And the first four principles provide steps to help us do just that. Reverend Ellen calls these a handy checklist, and here they are. Number one, these can be affirmed in good times and bad times. Number one, do I affirm divine love and intelligence in this moment? Do I name that and claim that? Number two, do I remember my own divinity and that of others involved? Number three, do I realize the outcome of this situation will match my thoughts and feelings? What we have in mind, we attract ourselves to. And number four, do I prayerfully align myself with God the good and receive guidance before I act? Now, sometimes, some of us may have trouble discerning whether we're acting in principle or not. You know, is this God talking or is this me talking? Reverend Ellen notes that any action that feels forced, impulsive, or emotional is likely not to be in principle. Acting from principles of truth brings us a reassuring sense of being on the right track, even if others in our lives may not see it that way. It's not stubbornly exerting our will, it's following our inspiration. Sometimes we hear people insist, and people have said this to me about unity, we can't just sit around thinking positive thoughts all the time. You heard that? We have to take action, they'll say. We have to take action. Well, I don't know if Frances the Frog is still sitting on that log deliberating, but if she is, she gets redeemed here. Reverend Ellen says, actually, we do not always have to take action. First, and I have to say this correctly or I'll be in trouble, shift happens. Shift happens, right? And it's shift in consciousness. It's a shift in our own thinking that makes all the difference. First, we align in spiritual principle, making sure that we're aligned there. Then we take action as guided, not the other way around. Now, a really good example of this is our board of trustees, an amazing group of people. We constantly ask one another, are we aligned in spiritual truth, that God is our source, before we get too caught up in the details and the procedures? Both have to be done, but we go to God first. First things first. Now, Reverend Ellen writes that spiritual action does not demand marching in the streets in protest or forcing corporations to be more socially responsible, although some people do express truth that way. It means integrating our divine essence, our spiritual selves into ordinary, these are her words, ordinary, annoying, daily living with its drudgery, confusion, and difficult people. Now I want to note that those difficult people are not in this sanctuary and they're not watching, right? But somewhere out in the world they are. So the question is, seriously the question is, how do we apply these 5 principles when we are sick, broke, heartbroken, or scared? How do we grab onto them then? How do we make choices that day by day, step by step, create the kingdom of heaven on earth that Jesus talked about so much? Reverend Ellen says, students of spirituality and metaphysics sometimes seem too eager to move into the knowing from the study into action. And here's the bad news. Are you ready for this? There is no magic formula. There's no, I know, oh, is right. There's no magic formula. Not only are we all different, but we may each have come here with our own specific purpose. And so we're going to use these spiritual principles to suit us. We are going to attract those experiences that fit our own personal style and our own personal talents. Now this means that, well, I'll give an example first of all. When I taught in Appalachia, a colleague of mine both had this goal in our minds. We wanted to be able to provide books to our kids who had very few books in their homes. But we approached it very differently. She went in her own neighborhood from house to house and asked all of her neighbors if they would donate books for our kids, and a lot of them did. I, on the other hand, went to the town library, the little town library, and had to spend a lot of time convincing, but I convinced the librarians that they could issue library cards for all my students, and I would pay for any books that were lost, and actually we took a field trip to the town library every single Friday. And in the 5 years I was there was never a book lost or damaged. The kids were so grateful to have them. So the point is, same goal, very different actions. We don't all have to do the same things. Now, while I agree with Reverend Ellen that there are no formulas, I do think, and I know, that there are tools. And that's what Unity is all about, providing the tools to really live in spiritual truth. Eric Butterworth, Michael Beckwith, and many other New Thought teachers and leaders talk about the power of a daily intention. Because every morning you wake up is another chance to get it right, to transform your life and to make a difference to others. It's no wonder that so many recovery programs use this one day at a time strategy. It is so much easier to claim and intend something for one day than it is to claim it for the rest of your life. So a daily intention actually helps us release the past, stay focused, not worry about tomorrow, stay focused on how we want to show up this day in present time. And the practice is simply to choose a divine idea like peace or love or wisdom and resolve that for just this day, for just this one day, you will be that no matter what. Well, one day last week, I had chosen as my daily intention to be peace. I think peace is so important. So I thought, no matter what happens to me, I'm going to be peace. So I did my prayer and meditation. I got a great start out of the house. I pulled out into the road where I'm coming to church, and some gentleman in front of me was driving 18 miles per hour in a 45-mile-an-hour zone. I cannot believe it. First, I thought he was having car trouble, and then I realized he was just driving slowly. And so my reaction was immediately, that slowpoke is going to be making me late for my first meeting. What am I going to do? You know, what's the matter with him? Can't he drive? You know how we spin in our heads? And all of a sudden I stopped, and I took a deep breath, and I said to myself, wait a minute. Today you are peace. Today you are peace. So I turned the radio on, I got some spiritual music, I just, relaxed and thought, I can't do anything about this, I might as well let it be, and I shifted consciousness. And that's what we do, and a daily intention helps us do that. Abraham Hicks says, attention and intention together are the mechanics of manifestation, meaning they make things happen when we align our attention with our intention, our focus, in other words. So in the book, Spiritual Liberation, a great book, I think we have one of them still in the bookstore for sale, excuse me, Fulfilling Your Soul's Potential, Michael Beckwith talks about embodying a consciousness of what you wish to be. He says, if you are curious about whether you are expressing divine ideas or not, you need to really Observe yourself about the number of times you might be blocking the divine ideas. Now let's be clear, they're always there, they're always flowing, but in our human consciousness we can cut them off. So he says, do you protect yourself from getting hurt and therefore close your heart to the love that longs to be given and received? There's one around love. For peace, do you look to the world to give you peace? Or do you remember, as the Buddha said, peace comes within. Do not seek it without. And Reverend Beckwith writes, you don't have to be in the headlines as a world philanthropist or feed millions of people. You can simply wish all the drivers on the highway, even the slowpokes, a safe journey, knowing that they, like you, just want to arrive safely at their destination. Yeah, and I know a lot of you do this. If you hear a siren from an ambulance or a fire engine, you can immediately broadcast a prayer to all involved. Everything you need, every single thing you need to fulfill your highest purpose on the planet is already within you. Your job is to express it. Our job is to express it. And the word express from the Greek meant to stand forth. Each of us is the activity of God, standing forth right where we are, not just in us, but standing forth as us. And life, thank goodness, is about more than solving problems. Life is about our response to those things that we label both as blessings and as challenges. Life is about what we have come here to be. And Reverend Adams writes, however complex or simple the circumstance appears, some questions are. Now this is when you're feeling yourself slipping away from your spiritual center. Questions can be, what is my most loving choice here? If I were going to be love right here, right now, what might I do? What do I say I am in this moment? And who do I desire to be, beginning with my next thought, my next word, and my next action? And Michael says, or not Michael, Reverend Adams, David says, your answers will determine whether you continue to wrestle with conditions or whether you step forth more fully into your paradigm of love and live the truth you know. And just remember, if thoughts, feelings, words, and actions are negative, we're probably trapped in human ego, and we will attract ourselves to what? What? If your thoughts are negative, you attract yourselves to what? Negative circumstances. What you hold in mind produces first in your consciousness and then out into the world. And Reverend Ellen says, and I've heard other New Thought writers say the same thing, but she says it very well. She says, this is why crusades to save the world so often fail. We wage a war against drugs and poverty, a fight against crime and terrorism, a battle against cancer or autism. We angrily say what we are against, but what are we standing for? What are we for? The universe reflects the thoughts and feelings underlying our actions. Angry resistance is usually met with just more anger, and peace begets peace. So putting the truth principles into action is an inside job. If enough people begin to be peace, peace will manifest on this earth, just as violence is at the moment. And some of you will love this. Reverend Ellen says, you are moving energy with your consciousness regardless of whether you get off the couch. So there you go. It's true. You're always thinking. Actions include the thoughts and feelings you contribute to the whole. She suggests if we want to practice expressing truth beyond our own homes, it's sometimes easier to express it there, not always, but sometimes, then there's some things we can do. First of all, we can try seeing the divinity in other people. The Christ in me meets the Christ in you. Namaste. And even if that person, by the way, is hiding the Christ pretty well, it's still there. Secondly, we can treat everyone we meet as the Messiah in disguise, because in truth, we all are. And finally, focusing on what we do not want empowers it. We create thought by thought, motion by emotion, by focus and energy. This calls us to focus on the good. And I don't care how horrific a life circumstance is, we can always find good in it because we know God is in it. Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore wrote, "Pronounce every experience good and of God, and by that mental attitude you will call it forth. What seemed like error will disappear, and only good will remain. This is the law, and no one can break it." This means instead of resisting what we dislike, we simply withdraw our energy from it, and it will leave our experience. Reverend Ellen says, you don't like violent movies? Well, nobody's forcing you to watch them, right? Don't watch them. Don't think about them. This reminds me of a conversation I had a few months ago with my daughter and son-in-law right after my husband made his transition. And I knew they liked to watch a lot of movies. And so I said to him, can you help me just find a movie? I just need something to relax. And they were starting to name movies. And I said, wait a minute. I don't want anything sad at this point in my life. I don't want anything violent. I don't want anything frightening. And so my daughter looked at me and she said, Oh, and then I said, and I hate silly movies. So she looked at me and said, you know what? I think you better read a book. And that's what I did. That's what I did. But if enough of us stop watching violent movies, they'll stop being made. That's the truth. So Reverend Allen notes, you are not expected to radically change the world. Even Jesus did not overthrow the Roman Empire or establish peace on earth. Mother Teresa did not eradicate poverty. In fact, she said, we ourselves feel what we are doing is just a drop in the ocean, but the ocean would be less because of that missing drop. And in some cases, as we've already said, expressing truth may not even require any physical action at all. It may require a metaphysical action. A collective consciousness shift usually precedes physical changes. Reverend Ellen cites as examples the fall of the Berlin Wall or the Green Movement to save our planet. And economists even measure mind or collective consciousness with the Consumer Confidence Index. And studies have shown when consumers become fearful, we sink into a recession. So some of us can identify with this. Flannery O'Connell said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you odd. And some of us do feel a little odd because we're seeing the world differently. Admittedly, expressing the truth is often a swim upstream against mass consciousness. It means staying healthy despite the bombardment of commercials about disease, expecting prosperity no matter what the economic forecast is, staying active regardless of society's expectations about aging, and beholding the Christ in others, despite daily examples of inhumanity. Reverend Ellen says, when we express truth, we realize our oneness with all human beings. We see the goodness in every single person. We have faith that we can attract whatever we need, and we are in constant contact with the divine. In other words, we are living the first 4 principles. And service to others is the natural next step. We are never islands to ourselves, and we cannot behave as if we were. Jesus did not sit on a mountaintop and wait for people to come to him. He walked all over Israel, teaching and healing others. The Buddha, after his enlightenment, left the Bodhi tree to go out and teach and enrich lives. And near the end of Jesus' earthly ministry, when facing Pilate, he said, for this purpose I was born, and for this purpose I have come into the world, to bear witness to the truth. And that is our divine purpose also. When we know the truth, we begin to pour it out, to express it, and to live in that perfect divine flow from within. Each one of us separately and all of us together are here to express God's truth in every thought, word, and deed. And more than ever, the world needs the love, peace, and wisdom that we all are. And so it is. And so now I invite you to join with me in the great truth that is being affirmed in Unity churches really all over the world about our God and ourselves. Together, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and at work in my life. God, the good, omnipotent. And so it is.
and every rainbow bends. Good is there in the light. Now you find that you know peace of mind. In the silence, your path is paved in gold, and all your dreams unfold. Love is there, peace is there, truth is there, God is there.
And so now, in this sacred moment, I invite you to close your eyes if that is comfortable. Relax your body and just begin to clear your mind. Take a slow, deep breath in, hold it for a few seconds, and then gently exhale. And as you continue breathing in and breathing out, with every exhalation, release any worry, fear, or angst that is keeping you from being fully present to this now moment. And as you continue to breathe, know that every breath is holy, every breath is divine. Every breath takes you deeper into that inner sanctuary of your own soul, where you know peace is there, love is there, God is there. So in this consciousness, open your heart and mind to the realization that God is a love that has no end and a power that knows no bounds. When you remember that this living presence lives in you and as you, you know that you are never alone, and you release any judgments about yourself. Embrace the truth that you are whole and complete at the core of your being. You are a glorious, complex collection of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects that have come to life as you. You are a precious work of the divine. Uni co-founder Charles Fillmore wrote, "You are on this earth to be everything you can imagine God to be." So today, right here and right now, set the intention to be God in expression. Through your indwelling Christ, you have everything you need to overcome the challenges of this world and to be love, peace, wisdom, and joy. The power within you is greater than any outer circumstance in this world. Feel the power and awe of this. Know and affirm that God is present in every challenge. And so if you are in the midst of any life conflict right now, whether it's a healing, a relationship issue, a loss, a prosperity need, just bring the situation into your mind's eye gently. No guilt, no shame, no need to control, compare, or resist. And if you feel pain, just let it be for a moment. Then surrender to the one power and one presence, allowing God the good to dissolve resistance, fear, and angst. And as you prepare for just a few moments in the silence, ask the question, what is this situation calling me to be? How can I use this challenge to grow and to evolve? What good can I discover in the midst of it? Pray that aligned in the Christ of your being, you are led to ever unfolding revelations about what is spiritually true. Do this for a few moments now in the silence. As we come together as a greater spiritual community, we ask, what is mine to do? How am I to serve? We have all come to this human experience to share God's love and peace with others. We set the intention to act with love, strength, and compassion to bless all our loved ones, everyone in this spiritual community, and all of humankind. And we are so grateful for the power and presence that makes this so. And we joyfully allow it to be, saying, Amen, and so it is.
Love of my life, I am crying, I am not dying, I am dancing, dancing along in the madness. There is no sadness, only a song of the soul, and we'll sing this song. Why don't you sing along, and we can sing for a long, long time. Why don't you sing this song? Why don't you sing along? And we can sing for a long, long time. What do you do for your living? Are you forgiving, giving shelter? Follow your heart, love will find you, truth will unbind you. Sing out a song of the soul, and we'll sing this song. Why don't you sing along, and we can sing for a long, long time. Why don't you sing this song? Why don't you sing along, and we can sing for a long, long time. Come to your life like a warrior, nothing will bore you, you can be happy. Let in the light, it will heal you, you can feel you. Sing out a song of the soul, and we'll sing this song. Why don't you sing along, and we can sing for a long, long time. Why don't you sing this song? Why don't you sing along, and we can sing for a long, long time. And we can sing for a long, long time.
Thank you, Mary, so much. Her second song was Take My Life. I'm sure you all recognize that, and a beautiful song of my soul. I love that. That's beautiful. And always, Chuck, we thank you wherever you are. You're over here today for serving as our song leader today. So now it's that time of our service where we get to come together, pause, reflect, and give thanks for our many blessings. We're so grateful for all of you who are supporting us, those of you in-house and those of you online. We depend on your donations to fulfill our mission of enriching lives through prayer, education, and service. For those of you in the sanctuary, the box for tithes and offerings is in the aisle in the back. And streamers, it's possible to contribute via Apple Pay, Google Pay, and PayPal. Just hit the donate button on our UDSTL website or on our YouTube channel. Knowing we are one with divine source, please join me in blessing our many gifts. Together, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. And so now I invite you to stand, if you're willing and able, for our abundant and free affirmation, followed by the prayer for protection. Together, in year 2023, we visualize prosperity and abundance for First Unity Church of St. Louis and in our personal lives. We trust God and affirm that our abundance is manifesting now. And now for the prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us. We are the light. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love. The power of God protects us. We are the power. The presence of God watches over us. The presence indwells us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you all for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you next week. As a vibrant, inclusive spiritual community, we come together in oneness of spirit to support one another and to claim godness and goodness in the world. So our final community song will be Let There Be Peace on Earth. Please join us downstairs for coffee and conversation. Everybody is very friendly and welcoming, and we would love to see you. Thank you.